Assalamu alaikum, welcome to 9 p.m. English News Edition. The headlines. President Anglais receives the President of the Arab Parliament, Adel bin Abdulrahman al-Hassoumi. Arab Parliament President urged Arab countries to strengthen relations with Djibouti. For international scene, the FAO warned of a new locust invasion. That was the headlines, and now welcome to the national news. President Anglais received the Arab Parliament. The head of state, Excellency Anglais received the Speaker of the Arab Parliament, Mr. Adel Abdulrahman al-Soumi, at the place of the Republic. Mr. Adel Abdulrahman al-Soumi is on a 4-day visit to Djibouti. The audience between President Anglais and the Speaker of the Arab Parliament provided the framework for the discussion of several issues of major interest relating to the unity of Arab countries. Indeed, several questions were the order of this meeting, among other things: the Egyptian number one and the President of the Arab League. The ways and means for unification, the restoration of mutual trust to consolidate unity within the big family of the Arab League. At the end of the meeting, the head of state, His Excellency Anglais, at the Speaker of the Parliament exchange, gives following by family photo. It should be recalled that the Speaker of Arab Parliament, Mr. Adel bin Abdulrahman, at the head of the delegation, high-level parliamentarian, is on 4-day visit following invitation from the Speaker of the National Assembly, Mohammed Ali Mohammed. On the Egyptian side, in addition to the President of the National Assembly, the Secretary General of the Presidency, the Minister of Waqaf, Momin Hassan Perez, took part in this meeting. The Speaker of the Arab League Parliament thanked the head of state and the Republic of its humanism and welcoming Yemeni migrants and the major advances of the issues. He also aided the unfailing support of the Republic of Djibouti to Arab cause. In his speech at the President of the National Assembly of Djibouti, Mohammed Ali Mohammed, during this meeting, several questions were exchanged between the two parties, such as the need to adapt and integrate united relation to the interests facing this part of the world and to make a common front. Furthermore, the headquarters of the National Assembly hosted the morning and extraordinary section to welcome the President of the Arab Parliament, Mr. Adel Abdulrahman al-Soumi, and the delegation accompanied by him, who arrived yesterday in the country for a working visit of several days. Then the proceedings of this extraordinary section were shared by the President of the Parliament, Mohammed Ali Mohammed, and the President of members of the Djiboutian Parliament, Ambassador from Bartoli and friendly country, as well as representatives of the United Nations Agency in Djibouti and non-governmental organizations, and also the student from the University of Djibouti. In fact, the President of the Arab Parliament has arrived in Djibouti at the invitation of the Speaker of the Djiboutian Parliament, and the visit was the first of its kind since he became Speaker of the Arab Parliament. Mr. Adel Abdulrahman al-Soumi and the members of the East delegation went to Markazi Refugee camp in city of Obo to see more closely the living condition of the refugee. He will also hold a serious discussion with the Ministers of Higher Education, National Education and the Budget, and he will also visit the board of the MP. For his part, the Speaker of the Arab Parliament expressed his thanks and appreciations to Speaker of the National Assembly for the warm welcoming they extend to him and his delegation since their arrival on national soil. He added that our Arab nation is currently living a very difficult reality where international challenges and external risks threats are increasing, namely the fight against extremist terrorist organizations and the management of unprecedented economic social repercussions resulting from the coronavirus. There is no doubt that the collective Arab confrontation with these challenges is more necessary than ever, which obliges us to work diligently and sincerely to promote joint Arab action and consolidate Arab solidarity in all fields in this manner. that meets the aspiration of our peoples for a decent life in security and development. The Speaker of the Arab Parliament stressed that the Arab Parliament will spare no effort to provide all possible support to sustain the effort undertaken by Djibouti under the leadership of the President of the Republic, His Excellency Mohamed Ghali, to ensure security, development, and stability. He also called the Arab country to strengthen and develop its cooperation relations with the Republic of Djibouti in various files and all levels, and to benefit from Djibouti's strategic position and magnet for investment. The Speaker of National Assembly, Mr. Mohamed Ali Hamed, delivered a speech at the beginning of this session in which he welcomed the Speaker of the Arab Parliament and his delegation on behalf of the parliamentarian, thanking him for this visit, which he testified to his willingness to promote joint Arab actions of and to support the Djibouti Parliament. He added your invitation, vision, and relentless pursuit since assuming the presidency of the Arab Parliament to meet the aspiration of the Arab people, is particularly your considerable effort to meet the challenge of the modern age, are a good proof of your Arab generosity. Dear brother President, at the time when the countries of the world have moved toward integration and unite, the Arab reality remain hostage to the division and disagreement that hinder our path of development, and this situation persists. We will simply remain entities that have no place on the international stage if there is no unified Arab position to build a strategy capable of facing the danger facing our Arab nation. A strong Pakistani delegation is composed of senior tourist officials and are in Djibouti for a working visit. Accompanied by the ambassador of Pakistan, this delegation took part in the plenary session of the National Assembly before having a meeting with the President of National Assembly, Mohamed Ali Hamed. Afterwards, the Pakistan delegation had meeting with the members of the government, including the Minister of Budget, Abdul Karim Aden, and the Minister of Commerce, Hassan Hamed. During the discussion were exchange bilateral cooperation and ways to further strengthen them. During this stay, the Pakistani delegation will hold talks with the Djibouti officials and visit the main economic infrastructure of our country. The Prime Minister of the Republic, Mr. Abdul Karim Mohammed, sponsored this signing ceremony of the trade agreement, or its English acronym PPA, Power Purchase Agreement, held this morning in the People's Place between the American company Great Egypt SAS and Electricity of Djibouti EDD, represented by their respective directors, Mr. Joseph, and presence of the Minister of Energy, Charge of Natural Resources, Mr. Yunus Ali Gedi, project leaders, and the Minister of the Interior, Mr. Mohamed Ahmed Sheikh, partnering this project with the OBD Djibouti Roads Office, as well as the Minister of Budget, Abdul Karim Aden. Indeed, the Minister of Energy, Charge of Natural Resources, had signed on August 10, 2020, a acquisition contract in addition to energy production license with the company GBSAS for the establishment of Renewable Energy Park (DPR) in industrial zone of Demir Chowk. This park will produce 14 of the which 35 megawatts will be sold to the ADD from municipal source and use thrice using police as a transformation electricity production process. This project will create 200 jobs during this construction phase and 100 permanent jobs. Then the delegation was able to visit the DMP and the ship carrying several pieces of equipment and materials which arrived yesterday at the DMP port. This pitch consisted of mass poles, plates, among others, consisted the most important part of the equipment for the proper implementation of the project and will be transported over a period of a few weeks. The Organization for Educational Cooperation, OCA, in collaboration with the Ministry of National Education, and vocational training in Djibouti organized a workshop at the People's Place for teachers and education specialists who had participated in pilot project on balance in exclusive education 2019 and earlier 2020. The objective of the workshop was to discuss the areas and recommendation of the protagonists of the pilot project for the integration of APA into national education system of Djibouti. This recommendation will be taken into account by the preparatory committee of the ACO in the preparation of the first draft program to be submitted to the General Assembly of the organization. The workshop concluded with an award ceremony during which the incoming Secretary General of the ACO and Secretary General of the Ministry of National Education, Vocational Training, Mr. Mohammed Abdallah Mahyoub, presented certificate to the 75 participants in recognition of their participation and contribution to the APA pilot project. In his opening speech, the incoming Secretary General of ACO, His Excellency Mansour bin Musallam, expressed his gratitude to the participants in the pilot project for their commitment to promote the APA and its integration in education. For his part, also the Minister of National Education and Vocational Training, His Excellency Mustafa Mohammed Mahmoud, reaffirmed his ministry's commitment to build on this pilot experience to achieve a balanced and inclusive education system, revelating the vision and commitment made in the Universal Declaration of Balanced and Inclusive Education, (UAE). The APA pilot project was initiated in October 2019 before the creation of the ACO and the adoption of the DUL by the Ministry of National Education and Vocational Training, the Republic of Djibouti, and Educational Relief Foundation in 6 schools in Djibouti City, then the surrounding area, 4 urban, 1 peri-urban, and 1 rural. The project brought together teachers, evaluators, head teachers, pedagogical advisors, and members of the Joint Technical Committee for Education. Building the resilience of our community is the slogan of the National Social Action Week 2021, which is an opportunity to shed more light on the region of the interior, their development, and the social economy inclusive of the human resource. In this context, a government delegation visited this Sunday the village of Ardu, the side prefecture of Renda, which is located 15 kilometers from Tajora. The delegation was composed of Ms. Mona Osman Aden, the Minister of Social Affairs and Solidarity, the Minister of Interior Ahmed Sheikh, the Minister of Health Mr. Mohammed Warsama Duriye, the Secretary of State in charge of decentralization Hamidou Aramis, the representative of FAO, senior official of various ministry and regional and local authority. On this occasion, the locals from the village of Gudde Dahawo in the Ali Sabi region also traveled to meet with the locals of the Ardo to exchange experience and establishment mutually beneficial cooperation links. The locality of Ardo, full of economic and social potential, was unanimously chosen as a pilot site for community-led development. Still in the Tajora region, a delegation visited the locality of Dora on Sunday afternoon. Indeed, as part of activities of National Week of Social Action, the delegation led by Secretary General of the Ministry of Social Affairs and Solidarity was able to visit training session conducted by the editors of the key for the youth of this locality, namely Balho and Balaho. Nearly 30 young people were training in entrepreneurship. The Secretary General has linked the objective of the week being community resilience. The village of Ardo saw the rehabilitation of a grave room, primary care room, and a community vocational training room. This infrastructure have benefited from rehabilitation in terms of infrastructure and equipment. This treatments will enable to the population of Ardo to have access to basic health care, to strengthen their economic activities, and to improve their living conditions accordingly. The Minister of Social Affairs explained the purpose of the meeting with the population is to listen the graph and proposal exchange with them for the improvement for the living condition and the posting of income generating activities and essential condition for their employment. The first workshop to popularize the activities of the new National Association of Tourist Guide in Djibouti took place this morning to the highlighted of the people shared by the Minister of Town Planning, Environment and Tourism, Mr. Mohammed Al-Qadr Musa Hilim was present. The Minister of Labor in charge of reform, Mr. Isman Ibrahim Roblem, and the Minister Mumin Ahmed, the Minister of Women and Family, the Director of CNSS, MC Deqa Ahmed Roble, the Director of Osman Abdi Muhammad. The creation of consolidation of sectoral association of tourism operators is one of the priority action defined in the government's sustainable development. The adoption of the strategic orientation law, the master plan of sustainable tourism 2019-2024, the creation of Professional Training Center in Tourism and Hotel Business clearly testify to the will of the President of the Republic to accelerate the transformation process of these sectors, which is the vital sector of the economy, and several countries. Our country intend to exploit its opportunity so that it can be a catalyst of employment and wealth. Mr. Bala Mohammed Hassan, President of the National Association of Tourist Guide of Djibouti, recalled in his speech the role on the popularization of the profession of guide. The director of CNS, Mr. Deqa Ahmed Roble, reminded in her speech that since its creation, social security has not stopped progressing. It lasted 20 years under the impetus of the head of state here. The Minister of Labor in charge of the reforms of administration, Mr. Isman Ibrahim Roble, is pleased to participate in this illustrious and special occasion of the workshop for the popularization of the activity of new and first association of tourist guides in Djibouti. The Minister of Town Planning, Environment and Tourism, Mr. Mohammed Abdulkader Musa Hilim, immediately congratulated the tourist guide for having stepped up this association, which shows the willingness of its members to create a framework for professional consolidation in the development of the tourism. On 24 January 2021, Colonel Wais Umar Baghore, Commander of the Djiboutian Coast Guard, and Mr. Mohammed Assouebou, Managing Director of Djibouti Telecom, jointly presided over the closing ceremony on the training course on general telephoning for the 12 technicians of the Coast Guard's communication service. This closing ceremony of the training on general telephony also saw the participation of, among others, the commanders of the support base of friendly countries stationed in Djibouti, representative of the security forces and defense of our country, the official of Djibouti Telecom, and the official of the Djibouti Coast Guard. This training on communication and transmission system was essential to ensure the perfect coordination of the Coast Guard teams on sea mission, responsible for ensuring the safety and security of Djiboutian maritime domain and of the region. A presentation of certificate of the various training was at the head of the closing ceremony of the communication system training. The closing ceremony of the training on general telephony ended with the traditional exchange of gifts and group photo. The General Manager of Djibouti Telecom, during his speech, recalled that this training provided by Djibouti Telecom instructors testified to the quality of very good relations between our two entities, the Coast Guard and Djibouti Telecom. Colonel Wais Umar Baghore stressed that this training is the fruit of the cooperation between the Coast Guard and Djibouti Telecom. This closing ceremony of the General Technician of the Coast Guard Communication Service held at the Durale camp. And now move on to the international news. The news outside. The Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations warned on Sunday that locust swarm are expected to strike a large part of Ethiopia and Kenya in the coming weeks. In its latest update of situation, revealed that dry weather conditions in the Horn Africa region are expected to favor locust swarm in large part of Kenya and Ethiopia. That's it for this edition. Thanks for your attention. Very wonderful evening.